Thursday and Friday. So I want to share with you a lesson that is very important. And I want you to think about it. This is the best way I can help you to understand it. How many of you go grocery shopping with your parents? Go grocery shopping with your parents. Would you, if you walked into that store, would you find the fruit in the grocery store in the same section where the water is?
Yes.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
No. No.
I need you to explain your answer to me. If you walked into the grocery store, would you find the fruit in the same section as the water?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Okay? Thank you, Candace. It's the same identification process that we use with books. When you come to the library, you see that all of the books are in different color arrangements. Let me give you an example. So when you come into the library, you see books that are in yellow. It could be any color, because every librarian decides how she wants to staff her library. In this case, our library, which I'm following behind another librarian who was here before me, and she used the yellow color code. And then we go to the mystery. All of these books are set up totally different. And I'm going to explain to you why this is this way. It's easier for me to place the books back on the shelf when the books are set up this way. Like yesterday, I had to put 250 books back on the shelf. So I was able to do it because I'm going through a process that helps me to quickly get these books back on the shelf for you. Then I go to the blue section, and we're going to talk about all these books today. This is called realistic fiction. And we'll talk about what it means when you go to the shelf to pull a book off entitled Realistic Fiction. This is so very different from your elementary library because your library is set up totally different. But when you come to the secondary, you're in secondary education now. So when you come to the secondary program of the library, it's set up very different. And it's a reason for that. And we're going to talk about what this word means. So this is the science fiction books. Some kids enjoy reading science fiction. All our books in the library are set up according to the green color code. And then some libraries are set up and they're called horrors in that particular section. But for us, we call it scary stories, which is a wide read selection of books. So now I'm going to share with you what this term is called and what it means. I don't know how to zero in on this little thing, but this word here is called genreification. It's a long word, but for short, we just call it genres. And genre means the same as it does when you go in the grocery store, or if you go to Dillard's or Macy's. You walk in there, and they have all the purses in one place. All the shoes are located in another place. They have the blankets and the sheets and the pillows in one place. The jewelry is located in a different place in the department store, and so is the makeup. The same thing we do. It says that the term genreification made its way into the Urban Dictionary in the year 2008. So the word is simply defined as the process or ideal of classifying music, film, this is where we come in, literature, or other such mediums into specific genres or categories. So genre is just a category. And that's as simple as we can put it. It's just a category. For instance, can we talk about music? So we can use this as another example. What are the different types of music? I like country and western. And you may like something else, but it's just a category. It's a type. Or I like listening to Christian music. Or it may be rhythm and blues. What about you? What kind of music do you like listening to? What do you like listening to?
Pop music.
Pop music. What do you like? Rap music.
K-pop.
Hip hop.
K-pop.
K-pop. those are different types of music. What do you say? Rap.
Country song.
Okay, country songs. So there are so many different types of music, so many different categories. So instead of lumping them together, they specifically put them in a category. Because some music I like may not be the music you like. The same as it is in the library. Coming into the library, you may not like reading mystery stories. You may like reading fantasy stories. But each one of these genres has a different. So let's talk about this. Literary genres. It's a kind of literary or artistic work. When someone puts this book together, this is a Harry Potter book, which is a very popular book. The author of this book was a former English teacher. And so she wrote this book, and this is a fantasy. And we're going to talk about, how do I know this is a fantasy? How many of you are familiar with Cinderella? Cinderella. Strange things happen in Cinderella. For instance, there were talking leprechauns, and the flowers would talk. And what else happened in Cinderella that allowed you to know that it was make-believe? Yes.
I believe, as I remember in the movie, there was a fairy godmother.
There was a fairy godmother. And what else happened in Cinderella?
For the rocks, they made them like a horse.
Okay, they made it out of a horse. What else happened to the mice in the movie? What happened? What happened, Manolo?
Become a horse.
What happened? It became a what?
A horse.
A horse? Okay, what else happened?
The sisters in the morning, like moving her.
Okay, so there's evil and there is good. That's part of fantasy. There is evil and there is good, and it's a lot of make-believe things that happen in Cinderella. And Harry Potter is a make-believe because so many strange things happen in Harry Potter. Why is this so important? Well, I'm going to share some more things with you because in these categories, you'll come across two categories, fiction and nonfiction. Most of you who come into the library enjoy reading fiction. And we're going to discuss that term. Not a lot of you like to read nonfiction. And I'll say, well, why don't you go get you a nonfiction book? Because it's going to have a lot of the things in this will mirror what happens to you in the STAR test. This was a recent benchmark that you took. Have I made a mistake? Do you remember this benchmark that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
Most of you will be taking your writing test sometime early next year. So as you're going through these tests, our school needs a citizenship program. That's probably going to be a nonfiction article. And then you keep going forward, and you'll find all these articles. Happy Monday. I didn't read the article, but it will either say that it's a fiction or a nonfiction piece of information. So this is very important as to why you need to learn this. There are some authors out there, and their work will not please you. So as you continue to read, you'll figure out which authors come to you best. So we're going to talk about the fiction genre today. These are stories that are not based entirely upon facts. There are some things that take place, but not always upon facts. Some of these books right here you may have read when you were in elementary school. So let's go to another one. You know what drama is, fable. The one's fantasy. The book that I just shared with you about Harry Potter is a fantasy book, and it has been labeled as fantasy. It says these are stories that are written with strange settings. The characters. These stories challenge reality. In other words, there are some pieces in that story that make you think that it is something really happening, but it's not the truth. Like in Cinderella. Such a great classic that was written. Yes, there are horses. You see mice. There's a fairy godmother. That's somebody that you may call your god. We have godparents. I'm one. But sometimes these stories will challenge reality.
So they're fiction, right?
So that will be fiction. Oops. Hold on. I'm using somebody else's piece of information. information, so it makes it difficult. Okay, let's go to another one, historical fiction. This is a story, I really like reading historical books. These are the events that take place in a historical setting. For instance, World War I or II, it really did happen. That's true, it did happen. But when you read a historical fiction book, you will find that sometimes some of the things are changed to not be true. Like for instance, they may put it in another setting. We know that 9/11, that took place where? What state?
New York.
New York. But when you read a book, it may say that it took place in Wisconsin
Pennsylvania.
or somewhere else. So there are some parts of it. It says it'll take place in a historical setting. So we know that that's true. So some of the kids will read the books in the library and they'll say, well, Miss, I know this took place here, but in our library, you will see it in the yellow insignia. It'll have this tag on it for that reason only. And then another one would be, some people call them horror stories, but in our library, it's categorized as scary stories. Scary stories. That is one that picks up around Halloween time. Do you know why? Why do you want to read those stories around Halloween time?
Because it might be more scary.
Okay, scary stories. Okay, scary stories. Yes, right here.
Maybe we can read it and we see something scary,
Yeah.
and then we can like tell our friends or like scary stuff.
And you guys should be reading books and sharing them with your friends. So your scary stories, you'll see the orange tag there. So that will be your scary stories. So it says these are stories that are written to fill the reader with dread and fear. And sometimes you do read stories, Goosebumps, you guys probably read a lot of that when you were in elementary. And then let's go to mystery. We do have mystery books in our library, and it's with the orange tag. Okay, these are our mystery books. You'll see it in this tag here. Kind of like an orange, a burnt orange. Not as bright as the scary stories, but these are the stories that deal with solving a mystery or a crime, or a story in which the secrets are unraveled. You guys are familiar with poetry. Realistic fiction. These are the stories that we see in our library, the books, usually with the light blue tag. This is one of the most underread books, but you guys are doing great this year because your teachers have placed certain expectations on your reading process. These are stories that actually happen and they are true to life. We used to call them coming of age. The things that happen to us in life: alcoholism, drugs, step parents, the birth of a new brother or a sister, trying to understand depression, or the highlight of what happened yesterday. You guys had a presentation on suicide, and some kids could not handle it and had to stay in the library with me. So these are things that actually happen in life. These are true to life. They can actually happen. And then we have the science fiction. Now the science fiction to me, here it is right here. It's in the green tag. These are stories that are based on actual or imagined science. And they usually take place on other planets or in the future. Yes, Candace?
They're not real, right? It's a science fiction.
It says science fiction because it's imagined science. So imagine. What does that word imagine mean? Imagination. What are they talking about? Right here.
It's like when you think of something scary that you think was for real.
Okay. So that means that
Kind of
it didn't really happen.
But
Yes,
you're
right
thinking
here.
about it.
You're thinking about it.
Imagination is something that you made up yourself.
Okay, you can make it up. So when that author wrote this book, he made up the different plots that took place from one sequence to another. And what he wanted you to do is, he says that I'm imagining this. And it takes place on another planet, or it's something that can happen in the future. It hasn't happened yet, but it can happen in the future. Okay, so let's go back to the nonfiction. So that would be more or less your autobiographies. These are stories things are not a real person's life. These things actually happen. Nonfiction, that category is picking up a little bit better now because we're saying, I need you to share your thinking toward this particular reading. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work together because I really want you to understand this. And I remember a lot of you from 6th grade when you first came here to the public schools, coming from your homeland. And you guys have made tremendous progress because I remember just in conversation most often with you. This right here is a booklet that I want you to keep, and it's going to go school-wide because I need you to keep up with the type of books that you're reading. And as you go through this, you'll figure out the artistic work that you like best. And it's your own personal selection. And you need to have your own way of figuring out how you like certain events. So this book right here, I want you to scan it. We're not going to use this, but it's going school-wide because one of the things the instructional coach wants you to do is to start looking at the types of books. We've had this conversation, and we want you to take ownership in your own book genre selection. Yes,
Can
Ken?
you write this?
No, You can, what do you mean, can you write on it?
I mean, like, did you make this?
Yes, A lot of the things I make up myself. Yeah, I have to spend a lot of time.
Can you write on it?
You can write on it when it's time to. Is it time to?
No, man.
No, it's not. So let's move along right quick. Now, this is what I need for you to do. You have to have a partner for this because we're going to go over a few things. And this sheet here, let me explain this to you. This will go inside of your genre. This is going to go inside of your booklet. But it's just to keep you abreast of the different types. You guys are going to see this on the test. It's one of the state objectives. You're going to see it. And so I want you to familiarize yourself with it. And so you have it at your hand. But we're going to go first to the first selection. And I'm trying to figure out how you all are situated. Okay, I'm going to pass this back here to the pair, the two of you and this young man. Bunsfield, the two of you. Okay, you two. Bunsfield, do you want to go sit with what's your name? Malinga? Malinga. Okay, Malinga. Call you out in the hallway every day. I don't know why I can't remember your name. Okay, the two of you are working together. The two of you. And you keep those two together. Okay, Bunsfield, can you come get this for me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. And then the two of you, you and Kyle,
But the mirror is so good.
the two. Kyle, can you pick this up for me, please?
Yes.
And then, what is your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Okay, can you come pick this one up? Okay, now, do not take it apart because we're going to go through this. Here you go. That goes with that. Do not take it apart because what I want you to do is we're going to go through and try to figure this out. Sometimes you have to go through the process of elimination. All things on that test, we hope that you would have learned throughout the school year, but sometimes you may not have even covered that. Pretty much this way. You have to go through a process of elimination. So let's go through, take your paper clips off, please.
Which one?
Of both sets. You have two sets. Yeah. I think he has it. There it is right here. Sitting on your desk, right there on the edge. So let's look at this process right here. Okay, can you share in, the two of you are sharing, the two of you, two. Is everybody covered? You should have one. It may have anything that it begins with. And what you're going to do is, you're going to take this set and match it to the definition of this set. You two are working together? You two are working together? You two don't have one. Is that correct? Okay, there you go. Now, what you're going to do is, you're going to place it on someone's desk, and you're going to find the definition. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out the definition. So if you start off with historical fiction, can you give me one clue word looking at this that can help you find the definition from this stack? Can you tell me one word that may be the clue for you? Go through, yes.
False, maybe not true.
No, what's the word right here? It says historical fiction.
History.
So what is the word that you're looking for?
History.
History. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna find a statement. We're looking for the definition. You're gonna take the word and match it to the definition. So you're gonna go through a process of elimination until you find all the definitions. So we're gonna start off with, may I use one of yours? Okay. So let's go with historical fiction. Can someone find a definition that will allow me to know what historical fiction is? Hold on, I want you to read it from here. If you find it, I want you to see it and share it with us. Okay, it was the first one. I think it was the,
Second.
okay, let me see what it says. Okay, I came in and I kind of moved them around. Okay, so it's you working with your partner and you're going through these processes, okay? Okay. Let me see what you have. Did you see what he was, did you see what he had, Candace? Candace, you're my really great friend, but sometimes I think you need to think about your answer. Okay, so you're on the right track, Candace. You're on the right track. What is that? What is that? Fantasy. Okay, so you when you go through this process, you're gonna go through the process. Pull this one right here. You're gonna go through the process and you're going to find the definition. Because this is what's, yes, Okay, so match the other one up. That's correct, match the other one. Okay, so you're going to science fiction now. So you guys are having your own conversation. You're gonna have your own conversation. So if I ask you the question, you guys continue on. If I ask you the question, if I have a book and it has poems in it, and it's by Robert Frost, and I tell you you have 3 different words. Is it poetry? Could it be a drama or a folk tale? And you probably would tell me, if I give you the clue word poems, you're going to tell me this has to do with poetry. So you guys go ahead on and work through these. I want you to think about it. You put that one over there. That's fine. You're fine.
Is modern fantasy good and evil?
Hold on one second. Let me help you. Amen. You got it? Okay, you have 3. Okay, what's going on with you in Bondsville over here? Okay, you're on your way. What else have you worked on? Okay, so you're doing realistic fiction. Okay, you got that one right. Okay. Okay, what's going on with you? Let's see what it says. Okay, so that has technology that is in the future, or more scientific facts. Which one is that? Okay, so that's what that is. That's correct. Okay, where are you? got these two right here. You're on the right track. What's going on, guys?
This is nonfiction.
Got history and nonfiction.
Okay, mystery. Let's see. Okay, great job.
And nonfiction.
And,
Wait, I think I
okay, look at that one again.
Oh, this one is right.
That one is correct. Okay, great job. Great job. So you guys get the gist of it?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, let's see what you have here. True account. Is true fiction or nonfiction? Nonfiction. Nonfiction. Okay, you got it. So where's your nonfiction one? Okay, you got it. Okay, you're on your way. Okay, let's see what's going on with you two. What have you done since we last had our conversation? What does that say? Okay, where is that? Okay, so that's evil and it's good. So which one is that? Like a Harry Potter. What is that? Fantasy. Okay, there you go. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me make my way. Ladies, what's going on? Guys? What's going on, guys? Let me see what this one says. Okay, so that's about, what's that about? Okay, so you're supposed to have a hint. Okay, no, let me see what you did. Where's the other one? Because you guys got the other ones right. Okay, you got that one right. What is this one here? Do you guys get the gist of it? You guys are on the right track. You're on the right track. Because you're allowing me to see you think.
No, where's fairy tale? Fairy tale. That's once upon a time,
Where's your fantasy?
it says,
Oh, yeah, that's fantasy.
once upon a time.
Okay,
It's saying is someone writing,
just
someone,
slight oversight.
he read about someone else.
There it is right there. You guys
He
got
write
it.
a book about someone else.
Okay, now, what you working through now? Historical, okay.
On the black.
Oh, yeah, you got it. There you go. Yes,
Can you help us?
yes, hold on 1 second. What's going on with you, Melina? Hold on 1 second. Yes.
It's written by a person, not by.
Okay, so you're on the right track. Autobiography and biography, right? Okay, so where's your biography? I like the fact that you were able to see. There you go. There you go. Okay,
Yes,
guys, listen
custodian
up.
to please open room 116.
All eyes on me, please. All eyes on me.
All eyes on you.
All eyes on you. All eyes on me.
All eyes on you.
Bunfield. Keep it together, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, listen up. I need all eyes again. You guys are on the right track. And over time, when we start working together on this, you guys are going to do great on the tests. I know you are. So what I'm going to do is, let's just say, if we have a genre, and it talks about imaginary characters or events, that goes back to, let's go back and look at these here. Look at these right here. Look at these.
Where?
We have this little section right here. Look for these cards.
Well, they have.
Oh, this one.
No,
Fiction?
I'm sorry, it looks like this. It's right here on that desk.
Oh, yeah.
Those. Now, when I put it up, what I need for you to do is to look through that little set of cards, and then I want you to raise it up and tell me what it is that I'm pertaining to, okay? So, we're going to start off with
This one?
okay, this one, that was what we just had. That was the example. says writing that could really happen and is true to life.
Fiction.
Hold it up. Hold your card up.
Wait.
Hold your card up.
Can you say it
It
again?
can really happen in life.
Miss?
Let me see.
Non-fiction.
It could really happen in life.
In real life.
What is it called?
Fiction.
Realistic fiction. Great job. Let's go to this one.
I thought it was fiction. A non-fiction.
This one here says that it is a fictional story based on the impact of actual or imagined science.
Fiction.
Find the card. Find the card. Find the card.
Buster.
Reach.
So that means that the correct answer is what?
Yes.
Science fiction.
Yes.
Let's look at another one. It says that highly imaginative elements like magic found in real life. Find the card.
Here. Yes.
Fantasy. Fantasy.
My turn now.
Okay, so we're going to do one more. This is a fictional story. It deals with the solution of a crime or the uncovering of secrets. Hold your card up. Mystery. Okay, this story, this is a book that you would read that creates a feeling of fear in both the characters and the reader. Hold your card up.
Yeah.
Hold your card up.
Yay!
Yay! You got it. Hey guys, you guys are doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job. I want you to go back to this right here. This is called genre characteristic matching. You can work with the person who's sitting next to you.
The right one
So
or the
let's
left one?
look at, let's go to number 3. That word is fantasy. A longer story challenges reality. B says it is short magical creations. And C said it could actually happen. What would be the correct answer there?
B.
What, can you ask me the question again?
Which would be the correct answer?
B.
B. Okay, great job, you guys.
Number one, please?
Number 3. We're on this paper right here.
Oh.
We're supposed to write it.
There you go.
Fantasy.
Yes. So that answer would be what?
B.
Bean. Great job.
Bean.
Bean.
What's another
Beans.
Wait, I need to find the paper first.
Number 3, right?
We on number 3. Let's skip all the way over to number 8. Let's look at mystery. Is that solve crime, unravel secrets? Do not shout your answer out. Is it written to scare the reader, or is about actual or imagined science? What is the correct one for number 8?
A.
A. Okay, mystery. You're solving a crime. You're trying to unravel all these secrets that's going on. Let's go to number 11, science fiction. Longer story challenges reality. B, about actual or imagined science, or C, could actually happen. Which one is correct?
B.
B, about actual or imagined science.
What's this? Oh, could
B.
B. Okay, so let's go to historical fiction, based on a true story, could actually happen, solve crime or unravel secrets. Which one could be the correct answer? Which one? Okay, so let me clear that one. I'm still having a little problem with that one. That one is could actually happen, historical. It can actually happen. Okay? Okay, you guys did a great job. Would somebody like to start off telling me what you learned today? Who can tell me? Let's go with Candace. Let's begin here.
We were learning about the books, the like fiction, non-fiction, history fiction, science fiction.
Okay, all of those type of things. Does somebody else want to share and add to it? What else can you say?
I learned more about the books.
The books that you have in the library, they're categorized. They're in categories. Okay, what can you share with me? Right here, Bonfield. What can you tell me that you learned today?
I learned.
Did you learn anything about the word genre?
No.
Do you know what it means?
No.
Tell me what it means. Right here, young lady, help Bunsfield.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Okay, but it's a different word, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry? Topics, different categorized. Categories that you see when you come to the library. So always think about gentrification the way it is when you go to a grocery store. Remember, the vegetables are in one place, the water and the milk is in another place.
Mother.
It's not all categorized together. They have it separated when you go into the stores, okay? So that's what I want you to take from here. We're going to continue this because I'm on the road with you, helping to get you prepared for the STAR test. And you're going to see all those different reading passages that you have to do. Those reading passages will mirror different genres that you will see on that test. And that is going to be the helping point, because when you look at something that has to do with history, you're going to know that it's something that actually took place. Or you're reading something about a mystery story. You're going to start looking for the clues. So you need to learn what those characterizations are that goes to those certain genres. Okay? Right here, Kyle, you have a question?
Since we have a bit of time left, I want to tell a legend.
Well, Bunsfield, when we shut that recording off, then Kyle, then we'll let you tell a legend.
Do I look like
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Miss, do I look like Cal?
Well, I don't know. We all somewhere together. We're related. Yes,
Can we put our name on the paper?
You can. Your name. Your name is your identity.
Do we have to?
Your first name and your shortened last name.
Which one?
Okay.
I don't
Which
have
paper?
Do we get to keep on?
You get to keep them. Okay, so we can go ahead on and sign off. You guys, you've been a great class. I'm going to have to tell Mr. Weiner.
So I have our grade.
I have to tell Mr. Weiner what I have to tell Mr. Weiner. And I'm going to tell him when you're here, and then I'm going to be here. Okay?
Yes,